do we see a discernible strategy behind all this? I mean, or is it, I mean, frankly, this is the first election that I'm observing where I'm not able to see some kind of a strategy. I'm seeing a lot of firing. You know, you have APHETC, and then you have now a new development coming up, you know, about the Punggol East, right? Whether there was a surplus or whether deficit, and then you've got insurance policy. You've got all these different things, but they don't seem to be pulling together into a strategy. I'm not seeing it in the PAP, honestly, and I'm not seeing it in any of the opposition parties, unless I'm missing something. Is there a discernible strategy that any of us is seeing so far in this election? And it would be wonderful if you can share. Anyone? Gillian? Or anyone? Of course, yes.
Well, I thought that I was quite impressed with some of the lines that the opposition seems to have taken across the parties. Like, for example, I noticed, I don't know whether you observed also that they have not used the word opposition parties anymore, alternative parties. So I think it's deliberately put out as alternative parties rather than opposition. And I think if you listen to some of the speeches, you can see a lot of them actually wax lyrical about the PAP leaders and how they are very good and everything and how they're going to work with them. So that seems to be a strategy in my mind, and it seems to be universally adapted across. You don't get this vitriolic attacks of the
to make it less adversarial.
Yeah, so I think it's a strategy that seems to work, and something that Workers' Party has shown works, and Mr. Chiam used to show that in Parliament also. So I think that's a strategy that I can discern.
I see the PAP campaign strategy as being twofold. One is to focus on the AHPTC on the one hand, and on the other hand is nostalgia, invoking nostalgia among Singaporeans in terms of the last 50 years being a great period of stability and relative prosperity. Okay, now if you ask me, I'm not entirely clear whether this dual strategy, which effectively on the one hand is negative campaigning and on the other hand nostalgia, is a very good idea for the PAP. I do not think it's going to get them that much traction, frankly speaking. But on the other hand, I see consistency from some of the opposition parties in plugging away the really central issue that seems to be resonating with many voters. And let's face it, it is the immigration issue. When I went to the SDP rally at Commonwealth Avenue on Saturday, that was the one point that seemed to resonate with a lot of people whenever it was raised by speakers. Okay, so, and I must say that my initial thoughts of this election was that there would be some degree of apathy because we are in SG 50 years of independence, plus the recent passing of Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. So I thought there would be a degree of apathy, but I did not see any apathy at the SDP rally on Saturday.
You mentioned strategy. Yeah. There's one strategy that I can see, and that is putting the Prime Minister front and center of the PAP campaign.
Yeah.
Right? I've not seen this.
I don't remember seeing it.
I remember Mr. Goh Chok Tong, when he became Prime Minister, he decided that he would contest and create a by-election, and he contested, and his votes went down.
Yeah.
Or the votes for that area went down.
Yeah.
So I think this is a clear sign that the PM feels that he has to just win this election.
Got a clear mandate.
But I think if you look back at 2011, he has to increase PAP's popular vote from 60.1, which was post-independent low. And second one, he has to stop the GRC type.
Yes.
So for these two reasons, I think he has put himself up there. And you will have seen, right, in all our constituencies, the PM's poster.
Yes.
The face, right?
Yes.
In fact, my neighbor asked me, is the Prime Minister contesting in our constituency? I say, no, he's in Amokyo. So I think it has, now whether, and that is somewhat a high stake game
Yes.
for the PM.
Yeah, it is. Can anyone comment from the audience?
May I come in here?
Yes,
Mr.
yes, please.
I just want to say that, like you, I find it difficult to track any cogent strategy. And I would stretch that beyond the PAP as well. I think the opposition or the alternative parties, actually personally, I think in political, the parry and thrust of political debate, you do need the word opposition. So I think by saying they're only an alternative, I see that as a bit of a weakening on the side of the parties that think they're only providing alternative voices. I think we do need opposing voices too. I mean, after all, a battle is fought not when an alternative is offered, but when opposing
view.
point of view is offered. So I would like to say, I mean, the PAP much of the time uses rhetoric and repetition and reinforcement quite a bit. And the opposition tries to go a little bit beyond that and come up with some new ideas, but I think they are also either one, not clearly thought out, meaning the ideas. Therefore, there's an idea, but there's no practicality to the idea or no logical working out of the details. And so they leave themselves vulnerable and open. But one overall comment, and I don't know whether our wonderful people here would join me in agreeing, I find that somehow this year's campaigning lacks the kind of real communication power. I mean, apart from our DPM and PM and a couple of people from various parties, the overall tenor of debate and discussion seems to be like heading south rather than going forward.